Down here, salt is a way of life.
Obviously, the environment down here is all salt. The ceiling's salt, the floor is salt, the walls are salt, and to an extent, the air is salt. And you breathe that in, and you can constantly taste the salt.
Penalty for leaving. Why do I get a penalty when I leave the game? Because killer simply camps my hook. He also camped the hook of the previous save. Why do I get a penalty for leaving when I am dead on hook, and the killer can ruin the game?
If you were going to die on hook, why didn't you just let yourself die instead of giving yourself a DC penalty?
You say it. Consecutive says, I left one time and get 5-minute ban. People who kill themselves on hook should get a ban too, because they ruin the game. Too harsh and unfair punishment. Also, I didn't ruin the game, killer did. So the killers can be complete and ruin the game and don't get punished. When rank reset, you just have to get out of low ranks as fast as possible. Never really experienced this hook camping before, it is just frustrating. All wrong. Suicide on hook or DC is almost the same. And it is just a waste of time, when they can't rescue you because the killer just camps there.
The age-old argument of them entitled to a win at the expense of others' fun. If players are upset that people are leaving matches or tugging on the hook, maybe they should reflect on their own behavior. If teammates actually respected one another, it would be a different scenario, but they do not. It really comes down to the devs saving their game. I've made countless suggestions and decent ideas that could fix their game. Look, none of this became a problem until last year in 2019 at the start of the playing season around mid-March. Players increased their responses of leaving matches, and then again it got much worse around the time of in-game collapse. People don't play video games for the sake of being competitive. They do it for some sort of enjoyment, not all. Streamers talk about this game being too much of a chore to play, and less fun each year. I can see from the competitive aspect we need a challenging atmosphere. But a community of casuals have to exist in order to help pay for content creation as well. If we drive away our community player base and no more than 50,000 players at a time, at peak, we aren't growing our community. We only have stagnated it.
Just a rant and farewell for now. To be honest, I have played this game for a bit now. And it's only gone downhill for me. The devs are so disconnected from this game it becomes a meme at this point. Balancing the devs do only ever worsens the problem or is a bandage solution. It's almost like they take feedback and go, they are wrong, so let's try this way. Then there is the current DC timer that has ruined this game for me. Don't get me wrong, I don't DC often. I DC for two reasons. First, killers making the game unfun for the survivors, tunneling / camping / jump ropes / etc., which I usually wait till my last hook so it doesn't affect my teammates. Second, if the game glitches and it forces me to DC just so the game can go on. Now some people might say, why DC when the killer's a question mark that just hurts your team? Yes, it does. Which is why I wait till I'm on death hook. It just denies the killer of some points, that is it. It's a small victory for the survivor who gets tunneled to the ground. Don't get me wrong, I 100% have DC'd before death hook. But I am not a saint either. I get frustrated. Everyone does, and I'm sure everyone has had their fair share of rage quits. It happens, and a 5-minute timer is a good time to calm down and clear the mind and be ready to join the next game salt-free. The fact that it can go up to 8 hours, for non-consecutive DCS is just ridiculous. I agree there should be a timer after a DC, and I think it should go up exponentially for each consecutive DC. Not just stay at a ridiculous amount waiting to spring on the already upset survivor with an 8-hour ban. That, my friends, is how you make a player uninstall. If this game wants to punish Tsing, that's great. I am all for it, but don't punish people who play 5 games without a DC, then get a 5-hour ban cause they'd 5 times in the past week. This does not solve the people who get downed once and give up. All it does, it makes them kill themselves on the hook, which still ruins the game for their team. The timers are ridiculous, and as soon as I get the spirit cosmetic that I have to get this season, I am going to leave this game cause I have lost all the joy this game used to bring me. I don't want to say I quitting cause things can change, and I'm hopeful the devs can bring me back because I truly do enjoy this game, just not in its current state.
Leaving because there is finally a DC penalty? Good riddance. See you.
You obviously don't know how to read, or you are just being purposely obtuse. I stated why I DC, and when I DC. You can judge me all you want with your assumptions. The game is in a bad place and there is no helping it with a bandage solution. Also, how killers don't play how I like. I like to be able to play the game, not be in one chase and on the hook till death because I was camped, tunneled. I am sure you would like to play the game as well since you are defending it so adamantly. So I would say that would be an understandable reason to DC. I don't DC to hurt the other teammates, I DC to hurt the killers, survivors that are being dotted. Also only hurts their points, not their game. I also said very clearly I am for the punishment when dissing. I will accept an acceptable punishment. The punishment they are handing out is not acceptable. So please pay attention before you look like a fool and a child who hides behind a computer screen. Have a good day, sir.
There are more serious problems in real life than DC in a multiplayer game. Smile. There is nothing more pathetic than any penalty. It only means one thing: you are powerless. There are other ways to prevent and discourage, or encourage, something. Penalty is the worst choice. It means only one thing: you are a weak leader.
I've been suiciding on hooks for the past 13 games now due to killer matchmaking being bad.
Starting match with piggy traps already on equals DC. Survivors have to spend at least 2 minutes at the start of the match to search the boxes for key, but with pig add-ons that can hide box auras or increase box search time, it can take up to 4 minutes, and if survivors spawn together they'll have to take turns and wait longer. That is if they don't get interrupted, since they all have it on at the same time.
So you punish the other teammates BC you are mad at the killer? Logic. For the killer it's just a free kill, for the other survivors you just ruined the whole game.
This is the reason why we have DC penalties.
Matchmaking lockout. New player here. So I'm playing with friends, and twice now when 3 of us died and the killer had me on his shoulder, I left the game, and I was punished for it with a lockout. Seriously? The second time, all 3 other friends dead and out of the game. I gave the killer time to finish me, but he just kept wandering around with me on his shoulder for 3 minutes. So I said screw this and left to rejoin my friends. And IT punished me again. What the hell is this SHT?
This sounds like a you problem.
If my entire team is dead, is there still any chance of winning if the killer literally has me on his shoulder?
Why would you disconnect? That is just stupid.
DC penalty equals devs have way too many players and don't want people to stay. Games like this are my top candidates for uninstall. For Honor, World of Warships, at best a couple weeks of playtime per year, combined. The devs just have no idea how to make players feel comfortable. Unlike, for example, Valheim devs.
Usually if the killer is walking around with you on his shoulder, he is looking for the hatch to let you escape. If you leave the game you lose all the blood points you earned, plus you get a D/C penalty timer that increases every time you do that within a certain time frame, and it applies to everyone that you are in a SWF with. The penalty was created to keep people from rage quitting when things don't go their way. Even a killer gets the penalty if they choose to exit the game.